got another good one for you in store today. Ryan, I'll hand it over to you to talk about those.
I've heard a lot lately, and I've heard this a lot over the course of being employed, and I've never found it. I feel like it's a unicorn, but it's definitely come out a lot this year because there's a lot of people changing jobs. There's a lot of job postings. I've had 2 or 3 companies call me, offering me a job, and not a single one of them's ever said this, but I feel like, why is this still a thing? People say, you got to get a really good 9-to-5 job, or it's my 9-to-5. Like, who's got a 9-to-5? It is 2021. I've been working since like 1998 or 7 or somewhere around there. Like, I've never had a 9-to-5. Now I've been an hourly employee and worked weird hours, but I've never seen a salaried job or a regular job that's 9-to-5. Does that just not exist?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't either. I mean, I worked at Walmart and like regular places in the mall. That was not the typical schedule.
So are you saying like they're mostly like 7 to 3, 8 to 4, or like
every full-time job that I've ever seen, first and foremost, is 8 to 5, right? It's that, and you get like an hour or half an hour for lunch, right? That's like every single one.
So technically like 8 to 4:30,
Yeah, exactly. Like, but why is it 9 to 5 with still an hour lunch? Because you're working a whole hour less than me, like a whole hour less than what I'm supposed to work. I work all the damn time, so it's really a moot point. But like, then what the scheduled hours are actually supposed to be is what I'm pointing out. It's like, how do I get this job that's got an hour less work dedicated every single day?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know of. I know of one person very specifically that I know for a fact works 9 to 5, but everybody else, they're either in the office at 6, they're in the office at 7, they're in the office at 8. 9 o'clock is a late start.
Yeah,
that is a late start. And again, like you're saying, and especially since we're working from home, we're all working longer hours anyways. So you're probably still gonna work to 5. But if you don't, you just have that flexibility, right, from work from home. But yeah, when I was in the office and other people were in the office as well, even in like more of a corporate setting, no one's getting there at 9 o'clock. That's you're late and you're fired if you're there at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. It's just
same. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. Like, I don't even know why that's still, in most people's vernacular, and I keep seeing it over and over again. It's like, it's not a 9 to 5. Who's got a 9 to 5? I could see a 9 to 6, right?
What it probably derived from is, a lot of the factory and, production lines back in the day, especially when, in the automotive industry. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know at all.
You should have just kept going with it, because it sounded like you knew. You were like, this is exactly where it's from. I've Googled it.
Exactly.
DuckDuckGo totally said it's from Ford.
You know what I mean? Like all the factories, all the automotive industries, everybody literally got there. Andy's got his finger up and his mouth open like he knows something.
So I Googled it, and somehow you're absolutely right.
See?
It was introduced by the Ford Motor Company back in the 20s and became standardized by the Fair Labor Standard Acts in 1938 as a way of trying to curb the exploitation of factory workers.
Yeah, factory, absolutely. And that could have been another thing, just factory, not even automotive, right? Factory.
So then I want you to Google, when did 9 to 5s become 8 to 5s? Like, why did we all of a sudden now have another hour? Is it because we didn't give people lunches back then? Is that what it was? Because you were a factory worker and so now it's like, well, we legally have to give people a lunch, which means they just need to come in early. And Christy's saying that I used to show up to work at 10 a.m. and work till 10:01 a.m. every single day. So yes, but half the time I was up until 3 a.m. working on stuff. I'm not going to deny that I wasn't ever showing up on time, but it got worse and worse and worse pre-COVID. I was designed to work from home. What's weird? I work from home, and I'm literally at my computer every single day on time, way more than I ever did when I actually went into an office.
Oh, my morning hours are so flexible right now. If I don't have a meeting till like 9, I'm taking my sweet ass time, and I'm not on my computer till 9, man.
Yeah,
But
I know.
I
We've
obviously got 7s and 7:30s, 8 o'clocks.
Corey sent us pictures of you still sleeping.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And even my midday naps every once in a
Yeah.
while.
I don't even
my midday working hard naps.
Yeah, like today, I didn't even get a lunch. I worked I talked nonstop. We are now entering close to hour 8 of me talking. So that's a lot of fun.
Shout out to those people who work really hard, and also shout out to those people who, work life to their advantage, work their job to their advantage, do what they have to do at the bare minimum, not necessarily bare minimum, but they do what they need to do, and they're good at it.
Yes. All right. Speaking of jobs, I don't think we've talked about stuff with Ryan's work or anything, but so everybody knows, all three of us in the last 30 days have had some big opportunities come our way, in the forms of where we're currently working. I think every single one of them is where we're currently working, or just also on top of that, some little side things that are just like, hey, you could make a few bucks here and there. Right. So big opportunities have come our way in that. I had a couple of mine have come this way in the last 30 days, but I had a conversation today that literally was such a big opportunity that threw me off when I first heard it. And I was kind of turned off to it. And then the more I thought about it during the conversation with this gentleman, I was like, man, that's a decent opportunity. And when you guys get big opportunities or extreme, in this case, kind of news, right? How do you act? Because here's what happened to me. I almost went into a docile, weird, introverted, I don't know how to process what I was just discussed, right? And it wasn't financial related. It was just hey, would you be interested in this type of a position, doing these types of things? Is that even in your wheelhouse? What do you want out of the next, 5 to 10 years? That's actually where the conversation was for, and led into a whole bunch of different things. And just with this one opportunity with where I'm working, I was just like, yes. Never had a pause. Good conversation. But after I hung up the phone, I just don't know even how to process. I was like, should I be excited about that? Should I just is that a good opportunity? All these weird things went through my head that was kind of not a feeling that I've ever had before. Normally I'd be like, hey, yeah, that's great. And now I'm just processing, should I take it or shouldn't I take it? Andy, has that ever happened to you? Or how do you handle big news?
So it's tough because if it's work related, I try to think through as much of it as I possibly can, to the point where I probably overthink it. And that I'm just a listener, and I just kind of sit back and process. But I think that other than just trying to not overthink it, I really just try to I let it settle in, and then I move on. And part of the reason I do that is because I want to see is something else gonna come up that's related to that? Is the universe going to put some sort of other sign where I'm not constantly thinking about it, right? Because I feel like if I'm thinking about something and I'm manifesting this, then it's always going to be in front of me. But if I get this opportunity and I just sort of let it, I receive it and I put it in my brain, and then I kind of move on, is there something else that's going to happen? And then if I get a sign or two, then I really start to process a little bit more, and I kind of go after that. But I try not to overthink it.
Ryan, how about yourself with big news, big opportunities?
God, I feel like I'm a big old freaking, baby. It's not the term I wanted to use, but when it comes to that stuff, of course I get excited. I share all the information, trying not to get my hopes too high, because, anything can happen, right? But I think I'm just a huge baby when it comes to a lot of those opportunities, because I want to make the most of them. But I'm like that type of guy who doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, who, wants to, not necessarily jump around a whole bunch and be like, it'd be cool to say I've worked here for 15 years, man, 20 years, where, I have friends that it's just boom, 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 6 jobs, within the first 6 year after college type deal. So it's just tough for me to be aggressive in what I want. It's tough for me to be verbally like it's hard for me to get out what I actually want, in that opportunity. So that's what I struggle with. But of course, every time these come up, they're amazing. Like I get so excited, I would jump on them instantly. But first, I got to get to the point where it's more official, right? And they would do that. So that's just where I'm currently at in my opportunity. As you said, we kind of all have those 3 opportunities, and that's just what I struggle with, is being aggressive and telling people I'm worth this. I am who I am. Like,
yeah,
look at. Do you want me? Like, because after that, like I got one job, man. I lose that job, I don't have a job. I don't have income, so it's scary to that point, because I can't just fall back on, say a podcast, right? I can't just fall back on that. So it's tough. It's tough.
But if you'd like to donate money, then click the
a pop-up on your
screen. Oh God, it would have been perfect to be like, go to such and such and send it to PayPal button X, Y, and Z.
Sides.
Yeah. Oh man, I really wish that I knew that's where you were about to go with it, and I could have had something. But yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, and I think a lot of people get into that realm or stuck. It's not stuck. It's just that you start to build a box around yourself, because one, we're all humans and we hate change, right? Like we fear change. We fear that the unknown is going to be worse. And what's odd is in most cases, the unknown is almost always drastically better than where you currently are, or the current problems that you're dealing with. Did not say that it's void of problems. There's problems with everything, but it's like, okay, me and Andy have stayed with, places way too long, way beyond. I was that individual. I stayed working at Massage Envy for almost 10 years. I was like literally like 2 months shy of my 10-year anniversary, and I left. And I looked back, and I don't regret it, because I learned so much, and it's allowed me to be where I'm at today. What I do wish, if hindsight's 2020, I could have left 3 to 4 years earlier, and not have lost any education, that School of Hard Knocks on it, but I could have left 4 years earlier, been happier, and could have been even in a better spot than I am now, but happy with where I'm at. Right. So I totally get what you're saying, as being that person, that loyal individual that's going to keep.
It's almost like those conversations for me, they're the, well, hey, I want to tell you something, but I just want to let you know that it's like, I love where I'm at. I love, I love what I do. I love working with everybody here, but it's just something, that I just have to like get off my chest, because I got to protect me, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. And, it's almost like one of those where instead of just be like, guys, I've been here for a while now. I think I have my feet underneath me. Like, this is something that I need. If you think of me, like, being direct, being like, boom, in the face, in a respectful way. I don't have that. I don't have the flow yet. I got to work on that flow. Maybe it starts with growing hair, but I don't have the flow.
It also depends upon who you're talking to, right? Yeah, because like, if your relationship with your current boss, everybody's had them. There's certain relationships that are very, very formal, right? I worked for my uncle at Massage Envy for many years before he sold the company, and I stayed on, right? And I would still get nervous talking to him. I don't get nervous talking to people. It's like the weirdest thing. Like, I can go up and just I'm nervous in my personal life, but not in my business life. I would always be fine. I could just go in and say, but he had so much knowledge that I wanted to learn, that I always felt like, am I just seeming stupid if I bring this up? So what I'm trying to point out is I get what you're saying. You have those relationships that are like, okay, this is how I think I need to talk to you. And in all reality, he was one of those that I could have honestly been, hey, this stupid as shit, and literally just said that out loud, blunt as much as I wanted, not just because he was family, but that's because of how he was, and everything would have been fine and dandy. And I think I learned a lot from that standpoint, because I've taken it. Now I've been in situations, and Andy knows the exact situations where I've mouthed off in the wrong way, because an individual pushed way too far over their threshold. So I was going to be the one that was going to lash out and back, which was not the right way to handle it. And I've learned that 12 months of my life was a complete backpedal for my personal mental health, let alone business education. So I've learned what not to do. And that's almost more important than knowing exactly what to say. But
I'm going to take that offline because I want to know what that is.
Okay.
But it was funny
in that story funny. Now. Maybe it'll be like a next podcast. Probably not. But anyways, I'm super interested.
I mean, it could. The company doesn't exist anymore. And that individual clearly knows how I felt about them. And I know how they felt about me. So it's no big sweat off my back. It's, I just won't say their name out loud. But so.
Soft taco.
Yeah, I did have a moment where I punched a keyboard, and I don't know if that's the one that's the one Chrissy is talking about, but I've destroyed more than one keyboard multiple times, so that has happened. I tend to lash out against.
Was it like a WWE thing, like, or was it more of like a?
Oh no. Hey. Chrissy, are you talking about the one with Stacy? Because I don't know which instance you're talking about.
You've smashed so many keyboards.
Yes. Yeah, like literally it's happened so bad. I did one at Elements where I was implementing a piece of software and it was so bad because I was being forced to. I was the one telling them, I need 3 more months. I need 3 more months. We are not ready to do this. They're like, no, we spent so much money on this, which they hadn't, the former company did. And pushed me to implement something. And I'm standing in the warehouse where I've gotten everything to work, but I can't. It was all working in pre, but as soon as the moment that I went with trying to get it to work in real life, because we flipped the switch, we have all these orders piling in. We can't process them to go out. Like, I'm 48 hours into this with no sleep, and I'm finally like, man, this, and I'm like smashed and punched the crap out of this keyboard. And Les, who was sitting there, he was the only one back there with me. He's like, just like slowly back. He's like, you need a moment? I'm like, no, I'll go get you a new keyboard. I'll be back. But we're going to switch back to the old process. Anyway, so there's that happen. One time I got really upset with somebody mouthing off to me that I wasn't allowed to say anything to back because they were at a position that I shouldn't and knew it. So I just kind of got out some I got a thing with keyboards. I don't punch walls. I don't argue with people too much. Literally, apparently it's just keyboards that I can't handle with stuff. So that is those stories, but that is not the exact one. I'll tell you offline, and if you think we should talk about it, we will.
All right,
everybody. We really appreciate everybody joining us live this week. I know this show was a little bit longer. Let us know. Send us, like, literally. I would really like to hear everybody's comments on because we've gotten like half the people say that I have no problem with it being 40 minutes, and other people saying, no, I'd rather be a 20-minute one. So I'd really like to hear you. Please send an email to slightlyaverageguys@gmail.com to let us know. Because even if we did the live show that's a 40-minute, I can cut up if you listen to it later on to be individual ones, to be two 20 minutes. And who just decided to turn on something that sounded like a vibrator?
The freaking dryer went off, man. I keep telling you, shut the door.
No, it's not
so loud.
Don't try to claim it was the dryer. It sounded like a vibrator. But so we appreciate everybody, and we will see you next week.